Okay, Liz, I'm gonna go over. I know we don't have the view from the side of the boat, left side of the boat where you're on. Um, I think in general, the area where you struggle the most in timing is the start. Um, so I'm gonna have to kind of look at it from the right side of the boat, even though I know you're sitting on the left here. What I'm seeing is most of the time you're a little bit you typically are slow there, primarily because you're trying to pull further back than you should be, especially for the start sequence when we're trying to push that high rate. So you have to learn to try to make sure you can get that power in just the front section of your stroke when we're exiting or cutting off our power just at about the knee. So after we transition into the long, your timing is a little bit better. But here you can see, right, consistently, okay, if we rewind again back to the beginning here, consistently just a little bit on the slower side. If we just look at your top arm here, right? So your top arm timing in relation to people in front of you. I know Mui is actually, so I might as well just do this video for both Liz and Mui. So Mui, in your start as well here, if we compare Peter, Mui, Liz here, okay? So if I back it up, so the very first thing we see here is Liz, if we take a look at where your lower hand is, right? Lower hand compared to Mui's lower hand compared to Peter's, right? You can see Mui and Peter, they're all already recovered close to the front here, but your lower hand is just a tad behind, and you can see that in the paddle angles. Their paddle angles are pointed forward, yours still pointed slightly back. So you pulled a little bit further than they did. Okay, so you want to exit a little bit earlier when we're in those fast strokes. Now for Mui, okay, a little bit more hang time in the front when you're going into that catch. Try to get a little bit more toast and be patient with getting a good quality catch instead of just digging right in. So you kind of, as soon as your blade touches the water, you kind of start pulling back. So right at the beginning here, right, your blade angle is close to the same as Peter's here. Now as we continue in, right, okay, Peter's being patient, letting that blade get in at that nice positive angle before pulling back. But you can see here, right, your paddle angle starts getting, your lower hand starts pulling back earlier, and you can see the paddle angle start being a little bit different, right? So let me start using another color here. So at this point here, right, Peter's is about this angle, and you are here, right? And now it continues getting further away from Peter's, right? Okay, so those are all kind of really key things to think about when we're doing these quick strokes. You want to try to get more in the front of your stroke with that positive blade angle without allowing that blade to get negative too quick. So really think about controlling that paddle angle through the front of the stroke a little bit better. So another thing, Liz, I think what I'm seeing, okay, so in this particular stroke, okay, if we look at how quickly, if we take a look at where you exit, so I see Peter exiting about mid-thigh here, a little bit further back than the knee, but I know that we're just now getting into the up strokes. If we take a look at where you exit, right, you're exiting just a little bit further back, but at the same time, okay, as soon as you exit, take a look at how Peter's lower hand moves. As soon as he exits, his lower hand moves forward this way. when you're exiting, your lower hand kind of travels up or even slightly back, and then it goes forward. So there's just that slight difference in the initial part of how you're exiting out. So you have a very slight hang time of going up before you come forward versus forward and up at the same time. That's going to drastically change how quickly you can back to the front as well, right? So we can see you initiate your exit about the same time. As we continue though, right, their lower hands travel immediately forward versus your lower hand is hanging back a little bit, right? And that's where the angles start diverging pretty quickly. So they get back to the front a lot quicker than you do, and they're into the next stroke a lot quicker than you are. Okay, so try to work on that. Those slight changes in how you're recovering that lower hand to try to speed things up a little.